Many of the clients that come to coaching are looking for help with relationship problems. That may not be what they come in the first place for. They recognize that they've got something happening in their life that they're not happy with, and they want to make some changes. And they're hoping that coaching can help. And the vast majority of time it can. And when it's related to how we relate to other people, often it ends up being something that could fall into the category of codependency or relationship addiction. Melody Beattie wasn't the first person that talked about codependency, but she wrote about it in 1986, and I believe the name of her book was Codependency No More. And she just called it, and I mentioned this in the article that's related to this video. She says the obvious definition of codependency would be being a partner in dependency. Well, partnership implies that we depend on each other. If I have a partner in business, that means that I have a partner because I need one. I need someone to help me in the business. They might be helping with the funding and several other things. They might be helping with the administration. I might be good at the actual delivery of the services. My partner might be good at administering and accounting and marketing and that sort of thing. So according to that definition, I would have a codependent relationship with my partner in business. And that's not a problem. Codependency kind of points to a problem. And what Melody Beattie was writing about is a problem in relationships that are personal, that often spring up out of, in 1986, the program Adult Children of Alcoholics had only been going for about 7 years. And that program sprung from a group of young people that had been in the Al-Anon 12-step program and that had aged out. They were over 18 years old now. And they found themselves as adults in relationships, struggling to have healthy relationships because the modeling that they had for healthy relationships came from one or more alcoholic or addicted parents, and the dysfunction that rose up out of that. One of the definitions for addiction is the compulsive use of a substance or activity despite negative consequences. So if we think of codependency as relationship addiction, and think of addiction in those terms, the compulsive use of a substance or activity despite negative consequences, then we might want to take a look at, well, what are the negative consequences of being addicted to a relationship or codependency? And one of the books that I've looked at to distinguish some of the characteristics and problems of codependency or relationship addiction is a book written for men called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And the characteristics that are listed in that book are not exclusive to men, despite the fact that Robert Glover, who wrote the book, wrote it for men based on behaviors and characteristics of men. But what is also true is that many who don't identify as men also have these same characteristics, which makes sense to me, that it wouldn't be exclusively for men. Boys and girls are having the same problems in alcoholic or violent or dysfunctional homes, and it makes sense that the characteristics would be the same. I'm just going to go through these 11 characteristics that Glover lists. He says nice guys are givers, fix and caretake, seek approval from others, avoid conflict, believe they must hide their perceived flaws and mistakes, seek to do things the right way, repress their feelings, try to be different from their fathers, are more comfortable relating to women than men, have difficulty making their needs a priority, and often make their partner their emotional center. And the problem, he goes through and lists, well, what's the problem with all that? Why are those characteristics a problem? Well, it's because in order to pull off that facade and use those strategies, you have to be dishonest. You have to be secretive. Nice guys, he says, are compartmentalized. They are adept at harmonizing contradictory pieces of information about themselves by separating them into individual compartments in their minds. I think you're getting the gist. They're manipulative, they're controlling, they give to get, they're passive aggressive, full of rage, addictive, have difficulty setting boundaries, frequently isolated, often attracted to people in situations that need fixing, have problems in an intimate relationship. So that's the nice guy syndrome and the problems with that. Another author that talks about this problem is Richard Schwartz with the internal family systems model, and he wrote the book, You Are the One You've Been Waiting For. He talks about the 3 projects in his book. Project 1 involves directly trying to force your partner to change. So you're in a relationship, it's not working, you blame the partner, and if you can get that partner to change or change back to the way they were when you were attracted to them in the first place, then you hope that the relationship is going to work. That's the first project. The second project is to try to get yourself to change by pleading. So the techniques and the strategies used in project 1 are, I'll just read it. We get out the blunt saws, scalpels, or dynamite in an attempt to break through the crust surrounding their heart. We plead, criticize, demand, negotiate, seduce, withhold, and shame, all to get them to change. Well, in project 2, we do the same things to ourselves. We try to get ourselves to change from a place of self-criticism, like there's something wrong with us and we're the problem in the relationship. And the final project just has you give up and try to survive the relationship that you have. Of course, what Schwartz is asserting is that, the way to resolve this is to use the internal family systems model. And I would absolutely agree with that. And same for the problems with the nice guys, is by using the internal family systems model, we are able to look at what Schwartz and Sweezy and Sykes in Therapy for Addictions write about in the addictive process. And so there's a process, and the process is complex when it comes to codependency and relationship addiction. What's complex about it is that the 2 people that are joining together in this relationship that is addictive, they're both addicted to it. And so all of the parts of the one activate or are activated by all the parts of the other in the relationship. And until that gets separated and explored and healed, then that relationship addiction is going to continue. Addiction is all about trying to manage what is unresolved from the past. That's what I've recognized. And using the internal family systems model to resolve that past can heal any addiction. It's been my experience with both my clients and with myself. It can heal any addiction, including codependency. I hope you enjoyed this article, Codependency, Addiction, and IFS. It's inspired by work I've done with my own clients as well as my own personal recovery.